The story begins with a young Suguru Geto reflecting on his work as a young Jujutsu sorcerer, while exorcising and absorbing a cursed spirit. Afterwards, a woman explains some Jujutsu sorcerers' missions. It involves them investigating a former restaurant chain president's home since it's haunted. Mei and a young Otahime enter the residence. They split up once they get deeper into the place. Otahime checks several locations for any strange activity, and finds a group of rodents in one room. She exits and bumps into Mei. Otahime says this floor doesn't look familiar despite Mei saying she traversed this floor 3 times. Mei theorizes they are inside the cursed spirit's barrier. Mei argues this is how the spirit killed its victims. They must escape the barrier to murder the cursed spirit. So Otahime conjures a brilliant scheme that'll allow them to free themselves from the spirit's grasp. Otahime proceeds with the plan and bumps into a young Satoru Gojo. Satoru belittles Otahime for being scared as the cursed spirit finally reveals itself. Geto and a young Shoko arrive, and Otahime's happy to see her. Otahime's surprised it's been 2 days already. But Satoru informs her that the spirit must have the power to alternate time. Mei asks Shoko, Geto, and Satoru if they handled the veil issue. The group gets scolded by a young Mazamichi for the veil, and Satoru comes forward and apologizes for forgetting. Satoru and his friends visit a basketball court. Satoru shares his thoughts about setting up veils since the populace can't see cursed spirits, or cursed techniques. Geto argues it's important to keep the populace calm since it discourages the cursed spirits. Gojo argues that it's exhausting to look after weak humans, while Geto claims Jujutsu exists to protect non-sorcerers. Before they get into a physical confrontation, Mazamichi enters the room and assigns them a new mission. Mazamichi tells the boys their mission has 2 goals. One involves the star plasma vessel, a girl compatible with Tengen. They must escort and erase her. One of them asks Mazamichi if this is about renewing Tengen's technique, and Mazamichi states Tengen possesses an immortality curse technique, but not to confuse it with eternal youth. Further, Mazamichi states that once Tengen reaches a specific age, the curse technique begins rewriting his body. Thus, Tengen will cease being human and lose his will. If that were to happen, Tengen would no longer be able to supply the Jujutsu schools, society, and the assistant supervisors' barrier techniques with power. Furthermore, they won't be able to maintain security or clean up after missions. Tengen could also become a dangerous threat. This is why every 500 years, he locates the star plasma vessel to assimilate with them and overwrite the information on their body. This will assist him in resetting his curse technique back to 0. Mazamichi tells the boys the Curse User Group Q and the Time Vessel Association are after the Star Plasma Vessel. The Curse User Group wants to upend society through Tengen's rampage. As for the Time Vessel Association, they worship Tengen like a god. Further, Mazamichi explains Tengen vows to assimilate with the girl in 2 days, so Gojo and Geto must protect and ensure she reaches Tengen in the time frame. After grabbing drinks, Satoru wonders why the Time Vessel Association wants to kill the girl. Geto claims they want to kill the girl to maintain Tengen's purity. Geto says they should be more concerned about the Curse User Group Q. He tells Satoru not to be full of himself. Geto arrives at the girl's door, but an explosion occurs, resulting in her jumping off the building. Geto rescues the girl and realizes this was a stunt caused by a member of Cursed Group Q. A member confronts Satoru, and Satoru plans to show him no mercy. Meanwhile, 2 men discuss the situation from a skyscraper. He asks his ally Fushiguro if he wants to participate in the Star Plasma Vessel scheme, and he gladly accepts the offer. One of the Cursed Group Q members is begging Geto to save him from one of the cursed spirits. He threatens that his comrade Bayer will mess him up if he doesn't, but Satoru sends Geto a picture, indicating he defeated him already. At the same time, Fushiguro watches a boat competition, and his comrade wonders why he's lazying around. Fushiguro says he's waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike at Satoru, and wants someone else to weaken him. We learn that Fushiguro is a sorcerer killer, is terrible with money, and has some potential relation to Megumi. Meanwhile, Satoru and Geto question if they should take the Star Plasma Vessel girl Riko to the hospital. Riko awakens and slaps Satoru, questioning if he works for the men who attacked her. Geto informs Riko that he isn't with them, but Riko's not buying it and insults Geto. Riko's friend Koroi arrives and sees the boys tormenting Riko. Geto explains his curse manipulation technique to the girls as Satoru belittles Riko for her rude behavior. Riko declares that she's Tengen, and they should declare her as Tengen even after assimilating with him in the future. Satoru and Geto ignore her and believe they won't feel bad sending her off now that they know her behavior. Riko realizes she's late for school and orders Satoru and Geto to take her there. Satoru calls Mazumichi, and he informs Satoru that he and Geto must comply with Riko's demands since Tengen wants them to. Geto reminds Satoru what will happen to Riko when she's assimilated and explains why it makes sense for Tengen to want Riko to live a pleasant life for the time being. Koroi tells our boys that Riko doesn't have a family because she lost her parents in an accident when she was little. Koroi has taken care of her since then and asks Geto and Satoru to let Riko have fun with her friends before her assimilation. Geto tells Satoru to head to Riko's side because 2 of the cursed spirits he sent her way got exorcised. The trio head to her school, and Koroi tells them that Riko could be in the school's music room or chapel. Satoru heads for the chapel, Koroi takes the music room, and Geto visits the other vacant areas. Meanwhile, Fushiguro speaks with his comrade over the phone about his plan, and we learn that the Star religious group paid him 30 million yen for Riko's bounty. Further, he explains that if Riko dies, the deposit will vanish, resulting in Fushiguro not getting the full reward. Fushiguro says that no one can kill the Star Plasma vessel if Satoru is nearby due to Satoru's powers. Fushiguro is unsure if he can kill Satoru but tells his comrade he'll leave the bounty for Riko's head up for 47 hours and let his fools weaken Satoru and the others with him. Something bugs Fushiguro, so he plans to head out and intervene in their foray. He hangs up on his comrade and leaves the restaurant. Meanwhile, Geto stumbles upon an enemy and engages in a mind-numbing intense bout with him. After receiving a brief flashback of the enemy's past, Geto makes quick work of his foe and asks him where his allegiance lies. Satoru enters the chapel and finds Riko and her friends inside. Her friends lose their minds over Satoru's beauty and Satoru is leaning into their lust for him. Their instructor tells the girls to pipe down but secretly hands Satoru her phone number. Satoru pulls Riko aside, and they head for Jujutsu High. Koroi stumbles upon another enemy and with Geto's help, defeats him. Geto and Koroi plan to follow Satoru to Jujutsu High. Geto informs Satoru of intel he received from the man he defeated. At the same time, the one he helped Koroi fight, escapes to fight Satoru. He tells Satoru that someone placed a 30 million bounty on Riko's head from an underground cursed website. Geto says these men have until 11 a.m., the day after tomorrow to complete their mission. Satoru fights his companion's enemies and toys with him. After showing off and failing at his technique, Riko receives a message and informs Satoru that someone captured Koroi. And that's the end of the video. Please tell me your opinion and like the video. Take care, and stay tuned for the next episode.